Thanks for joining and welcome to my session at Comsworth 2021. My topic for today is Attendant and Call Queue, your best friends in a Microsoft Teams phone system deployment. A short introduction to myself. My name is Thorsten P. I'm coming from Germany. I'm working here also as a senior UC consultant at Lucana DAB. Since July this year, I'm also awarded as a Microsoft MVP for Office Apps and Services. And of course, you can find me on different social media networks like Twitter and LinkedIn. And for all the German attendees here in this session, perhaps you would like to go to my YouTube channel where you can find Office 365 quick tip videos. And now to the content. So what to expect from my session in the next few minutes. First of all, I would like to show you some basics. What is an auto attendant? What is a call queue? What are the requirements? We will go through some use cases. Of course, I have also a demo for you where we will go through the configuration of a call queue of an auto attendant itself. Then we will have a view, hopefully, when the time is enough, for the end user. So what are the new features when we combine a call queue with the Teams itself? And at the end, I will show you also some reporting options when you are interested. But first of all, let's start with the definitions and basics about auto attendant and call queue. So what is an auto attendant or a call queue? Both features are available with Microsoft Teams phone system. So when you buy the first license phone system add-on, both features are available and will pop up in your Microsoft Teams admin center. They offer a powerful call flow engine for inbound call routing, primary for the PSTN. If you are coming from the legacy products like Link server or Skype for Business server, you know already these services as response group services, and the auto attendant and the call queue are the cloud-only version of the response group services. Of course, because we have the cloud in the backend, there are more features than in the legacy world when we are talking about auto attendant and call queue. And one of these main differences is that when you have the Microsoft Teams client and the auto attendant in use, you are able to use all Microsoft Teams clients. So all Microsoft Teams clients are supported. It doesn't matter if your agents are using the Microsoft Teams desktop app, the web app, or even the mobile app. And here the main difference in Skype for Business times, the Skype for Business mobile app wasn't supported officially by Microsoft. Here with Microsoft Teams, it doesn't matter which client the clients are using. What are the basic functions of the auto attendant in the call queue? First of all, the auto attendant provides a welcome message or a greeting message. We can schedule a timetable with different call actions. So we can define our business hours and our out of business hours. Also, we have the option to define a holiday set. So there's another call action when we are in holidays. And in case of the auto attendant, we can configure a normal auto attendant, or let's say hunting group. And the other option is to configure an interactive one. And of course, when we look at the basic features, there's also support to dial by name when we would like to use this. When we are talking about the call queue, here we have also a welcome message, but main difference to the auto attendant is that when we configure in the call queue the greeting or welcome message, we can only upload an audio file. In the auto attendant itself, you can choose if you would like to upload an audio file for the greeting or if you would like to use the text-to-speech engine. So the call queue supports also a welcome message, but only as an audio file upload. Then the call queue itself plays music on hold during the caller's waiting for an agent to answer the call. And of course, the call queue distributes the call in different methods. You can choose that one to the agent itself. And a new feature since a few months, you can link the call queue to a specific channel in the Microsoft Teams, and this I will show you later on the slide. What are the requirements to use Attendant and Call Queue? First of all, as I said, you need the Microsoft Teams phone system add-on to get the functionality and the features itself. And very important, you need the phone system virtual user license too. It's a free of charge license provided by Microsoft itself. And here you get the first 10 licenses of the phone system virtual user license for free. And you are able to request them for the first phone system add-on. And for every 10 additional licenses phone system add-on, you will get one more phone system virtual user license. So what does it mean? When we are talking, for example, about 10 phone system user licenses in your tenant, you are able to request in some 11 phone system virtual user licenses. The request itself, you can go into your Microsoft 365 Admin Center and request their new license, or you have to talk to an enterprise agreement a partner or a CSP. It depends on which licensing form you are using. Then, of course, because we would like to have the service combined with the PSTN buy-in feature, we need an available phone number for direct routing scenarios. And if we are using calling plans by Microsoft, we need a service number. So what is a service number? When you buy calling plans by Microsoft, you have to differentiate between user numbers and service numbers. User numbers will be assigned to a user, of course, and service numbers can be used for voice app services like our Attendant or Call Queue. If you don't know what is a service number, or you are not sure if your tenant already has some service numbers, you can open a request at the Microsoft support, and they can migrate or transfer user numbers to service numbers to use them in case of an Attendant or Call Queue scenario. Then we need a resource account. I will show you that also in our demo, what a resource account is. A resource account is used or linked to an Attendant or a Call Queue, and you will assign a specific phone number to this resource account. And over this resource account, the Attendant or the Call Queue is dialable by the PSTN. Also, you will use the resource account to link different call flows. So if you start with the Attendant and would like to route the call to a Call Queue, you have to assign a resource account to the Call Queue, and then you will search in the Attendant with a specific call action for this resource account, so the Attendant is able to route the call from the Attendant to the specific Call Queue itself. And at the end, of course, we need a definition of the whole call flow. So please speak with your users, with your sales team, with your support team, which features are needed, what are the business hours, which audio files are needed for the welcome message, for the music on hold. So we have a clear definition of the whole call flow and can define them in the Attendant itself. And therefore, if it is optional, but you can do this, you can upload your own audio files as a welcome or greeting message, and also you can upload them as music on hold. If you wouldn't do that, Microsoft provides a default music on hold, of course, for the Call Queue itself. So what are the use cases and scenarios where to use an Attendant or Call Queue? First of all, we can use Attendant and Call Queue as a basic call center or in a normal hotline scenario, for example. So I would like to route inbound calls to a specialized team. So we are talking about skill-based routing. This is possible with Attendant and Call Queue. I can configure a normal call hunting. Then, if you like, you can configure the Attendant itself as an attendance solution in switchboard. Here you can use as a normal Teams client, of course, but also some third-party solutions like the Landis computer and the Attendant console, which was presented yesterday, for example. Then a new feature, when you choose to configure the auto attendant as an interactive one, you are able to configure an announcement service for status messages, for example. Here too, you are able to choose between a text-to-speech engine or upload your announcement as an audio file, and which is the scenario for this. If we're thinking about remote workers who comes from time to time into the office and would like to know if the office is open or not due to bad weather, this is an option to use this announcement service. So the users will dial a phone number and they can press a number to get into the correct menu, and then they will get an information if the office is open or closed due to bad weather. And of course, you can use an auto attendant standalone. Also, a call queue can be used standalone, or we can combine them together. So we start with an auto attendant with our greeting and welcome message, where we use the advantage of the business hours, for example, and depending on the time frame where the PSTN call comes in, the call is routed to a call queue or is disconnected and terminated. And next one is already the how to implement section. So I will hopefully show you in a demo how to configure a call queue and an auto attendant. And as an example, I choose to use or to show you an IT support hotline for control the industries, how to configure the call queue and the auto attendant, and then I switch into my Teams admin center. So here's my Teams admin center. We will start with the org-wide settings. So when you would like to start also to configure an auto attendant or call queue, please start in the org-wide settings. So why this? Because here we have the section for holidays and for the resource accounts. As I said, a resource account is very important for auto attendant and call queue because you will use them to link from an auto attendant to a call queue, for example, and also we will use resource accounts to link a special phone number to a resource to an auto attendant or a call queue. As you can see here, I already created different accounts in my lab, and you can see also that here is a number assigned to a specific account. And when you create a new account, you have the option to choose a display name, a username. We can select between the different domains which are registered in our tenant. And very important, we have to choose or select which resource account type we would like to create. If we would like to create a resource account mentioned for an auto attendant or for a call queue. Important here is the display name. Please choose this correctly because this is visible to the agent itself. Think about a situation where your agents are members of different call queues. The display name is showing up in the Teams window when the call comes in. So for the agent itself, it's visible the phone number of the caller, and also it is visible from which call queue the call comes. And when we have, for example, different companies and they are all routed to the same agent group, with this information, the agent is able to welcome the caller with the correct company name, for example. So it is important that the display name is easy to read for the agent and that he knows which function is behind this call queue. Then, when you created this resource account in the backend, Microsoft will create a disabled user in your Portal Azure, in your Azure Active Directory, and here you have to assign this specific phone, virtual phone user license. If you have done this, you can assign a phone number to this resource account. As you can see here, there's also an information that you need a phone system add-on for this account, or you need the phone system virtual user license for this account. and if you do not assign a license, you are not able to assign a phone number. If we are talking about calling plans, you have to choose here the phone number type online. In my tenant, I have direct routing enabled, therefore I can't search for a specific phone number. If you have calling plans, think about the service numbers you need here, then you can search for them, and afterwards you can assign them to the specific call queue, of course. When you are in a direct routing scenario, the assignment of numbers works via Powershell, so you have to open the Powershell itself, and there it is a commandlet to assign a phone number to a resource account in a direct routing scenario. Herefore, I have also a slide afterwards. So when we created the resource account, I created yesterday already 3 accounts in sum. IT support computer, IT support Microsoft 365, and IT support printer. You will assign, it depends on your scenario. In this scenario, we don't need a phone number assigned to them. So we created our resource accounts. Next, I would like to show you the holiday set, because in the setup process of an auto attendant, we need this holiday set. Of course, I already created one with Christmas, but you are also able to add a new one. Important here is that data set for the holidays can store up to 10 entries. So if you have more than 10, it's not possible, and you have to switch between them and to separate them. And that's why Microsoft recommends to create a holiday set for each holiday. So in case of Christmas, I will open this. You can see I have already defined for this year and for the next year. Of course, I can create or add new dates for the 2023 and all the other years, but in sum, it's up to 10 entries at max. So create here your Christmas holiday sets, not Christmas holiday sets, only holiday sets. And then we have all prepared for the creation of an auto attendant and a call queue. And here there's also a specific order. So if you would like to combine an auto attendant and a call queue, I recommend to start with the call queue itself. I already created one here for the support computer and one for the support printer, and we will add another one for let me check. The M365 is missing, so I copy that one, go back and create a new one, M365. Here I need to assign a resource account for it. It is important to add a resource account. Without this, you aren't able to submit or to save the call queue. So it's a required setting here to assign the resource account itself. Then also a new feature, assign calling ID with the option to assign the call queue or to link the call queue to a Teams channel. You are also, your members of the call queue are also able to do outbound calls with the number of this specific resource account. So not my personal DID is visible to the call person. Instead of that, the number or the call ID of the resource account of my call queue is visible if I configure that one here. Then we have to choose the language. It's important for the transcribe of voicemail messages and to play system prompts to the caller if I want that. Then, as I said, I have the option to enable a greeting. Here I only have the option to upload a new audio file, so no text-to-speech engine. This is only possible in the auto attendant section. Then I have to configure the music on hold. And here is the magic where I can link call queue to a team. You have here an agent to add a channel. When you click on that, you have to you can search for a specific team. Next, you can select the channel, and then you apply the stuff, and then some magic happens behind that in the background, and a new tab will be showing up in the Teams channel general itself. I will show you later this. Then, very important, the conference mode. When you enable the conference mode, the call will be transferred faster to the agent when the agent accepts the call. Important, when you enable this feature, users with the Skype for Business client are not supported. So please make sure that every user, every agent of your call queue has access to a Teams client when you enable the conference mode, because the Skype for Business client isn't supported anymore in this when this mode is enabled. Then, as I said, we have the option to route the calls in different methods to the agent itself. I think they are self-explaining. Attendant routing is a parallel routing, and the others, as I said, self-explaining, I guess. The next option you can configure here is presence-based routing. Also an important switch. If you enable it, the call is routed to an agent when the agent itself is available and green. When the agent is away, when the agent is busy, when the agent is on Do Not Disturb, the agent will not get a new call. So only if the agent is green and available, a new call will be signaled to the agent. Why is this so important? When we think about Outlook and the sync of the presence or the My Appointments in Presence to Outlook, it's to two teams. We have here a dependency, because when you create a new appointment as a reminder, for example, this new appointment has a category busy. And this means that during this reminder, my team's status, presence status, will also switch to busy. And if I have the presence-based routing enabled, even I'm available and waiting for an inbound call, I will not get any call because I have a reminder in my Outlook calendar. So this is very important for the user adoption part. When you enable presence-based routing, inform your users that they choose the category free for reminder appointments in their Outlook calendar. Then we have the normal stuff like call agent alert timeout. So if a call is waiting or a caller is waiting or is signaled to a specific agent, to my first agent, and the agent doesn't answer this call, the call will go to the next agent. One thing I forget is the call agents can opt out. So there's an option that I be a member of the call queue, and I will choose if I would like to be a really active member of the call queue or not. So if you disable that one, I'm an active member when I log into Microsoft Teams. If you enable this, the agent can opt out, and then it is an inactive member of the call queue. And of course, we have a call overflow handling here, where we can configure how many calls we would like to have in maximum, and what is the action for this when the maximum is reached, and also for the timeout itself. So how long will the caller wait in the call queue itself? Here we have different options. Disconnect. It's not the best option, I think. So redirect is better. And here also you have different options. For example, you can route the call to a person in your organization. You can route the call to a voice app. This means to another Outlook tenant or another call queue. You can route to an external phone number, and you can route the call to a voicemail. Important, if you choose external phone number, it depends on your current scenario. When you are using direct routing, the resource account needs an online voice routing policy assigned, because only then the resource account is able to route the call to an external phone number. If you are using the calling plans, you need to buy a calling plan for this resource account and assign the calling plan license to the corresponding resource account too. If not, you can configure it here in this part, but it will not work because there is the account is not able to do outbound calls. So we configured so far we configured the call queue. I will create it now. Hopefully this will work. Okay, successfully created. Now we switch to the auto attendant itself. I already created here an auto attendant in the last days. Comes with IT support. As you can see, I already linked resource account with a phone number to this announcement service. Therefore, I can see here the phone numbers. You also have the option to link different resource accounts. For example, when you have different phone numbers and you would like to route them to the same auto attendant, this is also supported and possible. Then you will link several resource accounts with different phone numbers to this auto attendant. An operator is currently not needed. Then we need to define the time zone itself. This is of course important for the business hours and non-business hours. We can choose the language and we enable in this case the voice input. The voice input we need here for the call action. So I choose that we need a menu option. So the user will get a greeting. Perhaps we start with a greeting too. So the user will get a greeting. In this case, I choose that I will use the text-to-speech engine, different to the call queue itself. So I can also select to upload an audio file, but in this case, I selected add a greeting message, and then the text-to-speech engine from Microsoft will be used to read this text. Then I decide what happens to the call, so what call actions will be triggered. Here the same, if I select redirect call, I have different options to redirect the call to a specific user, to an external phone number, to a voice app, or directly to a voicemail. But in our case, we would like to play a menu option, and then too, I have to select if I have an audio file as next message, or if I would like to use the text-to-speech engine here. Of course, when you choose the text-to-speech engine, or you would like to upload an audio file, the given options should be named in the audio file and also in the text. In this case, the user should press the one when he has problems with the PC. In case of M365 related issues, press 2. And when problems are with the printer, press 3. These are the options currently, and I already prepared some. And currently missing is the second option. I hope this works too. So if we choose here 2, here we have to look for a voice app because we would like to redirect the call to the call queue itself. And then I look for IT support and pick the Microsoft 365. And also I can here define a voice comment. 3 is possible, or M365, depending on what is included in your message. Here in this case, I choose 2, not 3. So, if you would like to use the auto attendant itself as an attendant service, you have the option here to support directory search based on dial by name or based on dial by extension. In this case, we choose none of them. And then we are already in the menu to set the business hours. I predefined here that on Monday the auto attendant will be available from 8 a.m. till 11 a.m. and from 1 p.m. till 6 p.m. Outside of these hours, we have a different greeting message, And here it is also important, and the big difference to the legacy products, to the response group services. So if the caller enters or is calling during our business hours, the welcome message from the first page is played. When the caller calls us outside of our business hours, which are configured here, only the greeting message from this page will be played, not the welcome message from the first page. This is also a difference to the legacy products, Link and Skype for Business. And as you can imagine, when we can configure a welcome message or greeting message for our out of business hours, we can also configure a call action for it. So we can disconnect the call, we can redirect the call, same options here, person, organization, voice app, external phone number or voicemail. And another option is to play a menu. And here the same behavior, we can upload an audio file, can use the text-to-speech engine. So from my point of view, a very powerful call flow here we can configure. Next, we will, or we can configure our holiday settings. It's optional. And when we edit this, you can see that you can select between your different holiday sets. And we can configure to another greeting and another call action for this. Next, dial scope. It is interesting when you're using the auto attendant as an attendant solution only. Then you can filter and define and set which persons are included, which persons or groups are excluded from this search when you would like to use it. And the last step is to link a resource account to this auto attendant, and I've already done this. And as I said, when you would like to assign several numbers, you are able to link several resource accounts, of course. So that's it. No scripting, no PowerShell. Just the Teams Admin Center, and I think it's pretty easy to configure it. Many options you have here for your call flow. And now back to presentation. Short overview what we've done in the last few minutes. First of all, when you would like to create a new auto attendant, create corresponding resource accounts for the auto attendant and for the call queue, assign the corresponding licenses to these users. They are disabled users in the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. Then create a call queue and link the call queue resource account to this call queue. Then create the auto attendant and link, if you like, the call queue as a routing destination, and of course the auto attendant resource account to it. And the last step, and please wait some minutes or even some hours, please assign the phone number to the auto attendant resource account. Why wait a few minutes or hours? Because at the end, yeah, it's a cloud and it needs some time. Still, all the new accounts are sync between the different data centers, and it takes some time. Still, you can assign a phone number to it. As I said, or yeah, even on the you can create the resource accounts in the Teams Admin Center, but of course you can create them too in the PowerShell. When you have several accounts to create, it's faster than to use the Teams Admin Center, of course. Here's the PowerShell commandlet, new CS online application instance. You need a user principal name, an application ID, and a display name. From my point of view, or when I'm working in a project, I'm using an Excel sheet and have all the information there. Then I import this information and look through each data set and create the corresponding resource accounts with the PowerShell faster, as I said. Here you also have an example how it looks like when you create them with the PowerShell itself. You get a short overview about the created account, and of course here the phone number is still missing. An auto attendant ID and the call queue ID are important, and here you select which type of resource account you would like to create. At the end, when we are using direct routing, we have to assign a phone number, and this is currently only possible in the PowerShell itself. And therefore, we have a specific command 2, set -cs online application instance. Then you choose the corresponding user principal name of the resource account, and you define with the on-prem phone number the phone number for it. I included here a QR code to a website where the commandlets are described and how to use them. So if you are interested, then you can also find different resource account IDs which you can use to create resource accounts in PowerShell itself. Use the QR code to open the website. Some best practices, good to know, hints from my side. As I said, when you would like to route a call to an external phone number, your resource account needs an online voice routing policy in case of direct routing, or a calling plan when you are using calling plans. In a hybrid scenario, when you have still a Skype for Business server on premises, there's a special PowerShell commandlet on premises to create a resource account on premises and to sync them in the Azure Active Directory and use this. Why we should do this? Because when you create the resource account with the Teams Admin Center as a cloud-only account, your users on premises in the Skype for Business infrastructure will not find this resource account in the Skype for Business client search. Therefore, you have the option to create them on premises, then they are searchable by the Skype for Business users on premises too. When you would like to route a call from an auto attendant to a call queue or from a call queue to another call queue, please search for the display name of the resource account and not for the UPN. This is currently not working, or in my lab it is not working. So search for the display name. In an interactive menu, you have the option to create an announcement service. And as I said, the holiday set itself can store up to 10 entries. Therefore, Microsoft recommends to create a dedicated set for each holiday. And then at the end, please pay attention if you enable the presence-based routing. When you create a new appointment in your Outlook calendar, it is created as busy, and this present status is synced to the Microsoft Teams client itself, and then you will not get any inbound call, even you are available for it. And now let's see how does it look for the end user. As I said, we have the voice-enabled channel. Microsoft announced it for the first time on Ignite 2020 as collaborative calling. It's rolled out since March this year as voice-enabled channels. And the magic behind it is that you can link a call queue to a Microsoft Teams to a specific channel. Important to know, pay attention to the two. This works only in your Teams desktop client. So if you are using the Teams web client, you won't see the tab calls, or even on the mobile phone, you won't see this tab. It's only visible on the Teams desktop client itself. And now the question is which tab the Thorsten is talking here. This little one here. When you enable or link call queue to a Teams channel, you will get a new tab in this team, and it is called Calls, or Anrufe in German. And when we look a little bit in detail and focus on that, you can see it looks a little bit like the new call experience. So you have here a special section for, here it comes. Special section for the call history, where you can filter on missed calls, incoming calls, the voicemails are also coming up here. Then you have the iPad for the agent. This is also new and coming only when you are using the when you link the call queue to a Teams channel itself. As I said, there's also a policy or an option in the call queue to link a resource account, so your number is not visible, your personal number is not visible, and instead of that, the number of the call queue or the resource account is visible when you're doing an outbound call. Then we have the option directly in the Teams client itself to opt in and opt out to a call queue. In the past, this is only possible to open it in the settings. And we have also a short overview about the different agents in our team, and we can see if the agent is opt-in or opt-out. And last but not least, reporting and analytics.
Thorsten, we're on time, so if you don't mind concluding very quickly. Thank you.
Short overview about the possible or the options. I guess the QR code is the most important one to download the Power BI reports. Just test it if you like. You get an overview about the different call actions in the Attendant or Call Queue itself. That's it.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Thorsten. So this concludes the session. Yeah, we can applaud.
Thanks for joining.
Yeah.